Down the line, obviously, from 2019 to 2023, things got changed. New technologies came in the market.
When we spoke about technology, it was a very limited segment of people who understood it.
Learning newer technologies, which are the exponential technologies which are continuously evolving.
You have a lot of new tech which is NoSQL to a lot of tech that is built around it, which can scale automatically for you.
In fact, we can expand it even more.
So in that way, we try to adapt with the new technology, the latest technologies.
The challenge comes is who is going to invest into such a complex system?
Which means they know that there's an aspect of accountability that needs to happen with that.
During COVID, it was a carnage. Now it's a bloodbath, and I don't know if this is going to, kind of come down. This is going to be the new normal.
Again, the system of your mindset gets completely evolved.
The biology of two individuals itself is so complex.
Tired and frustrated of corporate artificial and plastic talks? Are you frustrated with unskilled YouTube gurus telling you what to upskill, how to cross-skill when they themselves don't have any tech background? So here at Titan Stock, we call industry stalwarts from across multiple industries and have them share their views on what they look for in lateral candidates and in freshers. So these are people who've been there, done that, and who are continuing to do. So these folks are going to give you their raw, unfiltered opinion on what they want and what they look for in a candidate and how you can prepare. We will talk about how should a lateral approach every industry and how they should get in, and how a fresher should kind of prepare themselves so that they become industry ready and more employable compared to just another college graduate. Welcome to Titan Stock. Here we are with another episode, again breaking the shackles of corporate world and talking to you straight from the heart. Hey, hi, welcome to another episode of Titan Stock. Today we are going to talk about the challenges and opportunities and building scalable technology for growing businesses today. And today we have Maneesh Paul from Microvioma, and we have Sunil from CodeAndTheory, and then we have Parminder Kaur, and then we have Rishav Agarwal from Picxele, and we have Vishwajit from Vishwakarma. If you guys can quickly give a small introduction about each one of you, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm Dr. Maneesh Paul, a clinical microbiologist and the co-inventor of the first anti-infective molecule from India that got approved from US FDA and all other regulatory agencies, including India.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sunil Kalkunte. I'm MD of CodeAndTheory India. Been in the IT industry for about 22 years now. Lead a lot of global technology transformations, technologies by heart. I'm an avid hiker and an avid traveler. Love experiences around, and happy to be here to present my personal views on this channel.
Thank you. I'm Parminder Kaur, basically from Pune, but now in Bangalore. So I have navigated for around 2 decades in the industry here. So this compromises across domains, right from banking to technically, manufacturing areas, retail. So I think with large experience around those, challenging things, help me improvising them. So this is in short about me working for a MNC here for some time now. So yeah, glad to be here to present my views.
Hey, I'm Rishav Agarwal. I run my company Picxele, and it's been 5 years since I'm running a company after I completed my college. Also been a startup enthusiast, been engaging with lot many other startups, been invested in around 60 companies, and been helping couple of young folks building their own startups. Yeah, happy to be here and looking forward.
Yeah, thank you. This is Vishwajit from Vishwakarma Institutes and University Pune. I've been with Vishwakarma Institutes from 2016, so it's a 9th year. I'm looking after the training and placements part of the Vishwakarma Institutes and University, and happy to be here. Looking forward. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, everyone. So I first wanted to, touch upon the current, trends in scaling technology practice for growing businesses, because technology is soon the backbone. It was earlier IT kind of enabled it, but then now it's like any business that's not tech enabled, right? That is soon going out of business. So wanted to kind of ask you questions. So I'll start with Parminder. Parminder, can you share the current trends in scalable technologies and how technology firms are adopting to it?
Sure, Gautam. So yeah, change is the name of the game. It has been the only constant thing in the universe. So what I would like to say, I mean, my perspective on the scalability of technical things that we see around us, because it is being used by a large group now. Early on, when we spoke about technology, it was a very limited segment of people who understood it. Now, even the babies who don't even talk, they can utilize the technology, right till uncles who are like 95, 98. Everybody uses technology. So there is huge data that is coming in. What How is it going to be handled? How would be the user experience? What about the security part? So I think these are the trends. These are the main focus areas where the organizations are working heavily on. They are heavily investing in technology so that the large number of data is secured. We have regulatory things coming on, like for we have GDPR, which needs to be taken care of while anything big is released. So I think keeping many things in view, AI is being sought after. AI ML, something which is coming up, that is being taken a lot of use of, so that all things fall in place in right hands at the right time. People get great user experience, because of which this is one area which I believe where creativity will be involved. So coming from different segments and societies, so I think these trends will catch up. Then there are technologies like we have blockchain, we have cloud computing, wherein going back to the changed game, a few years back, we used to save our data on floppies. I cannot do that anymore. I can't even use a floppy if I have to save anything. I need to go on cloud. So how are we? It's only growing, it's just expanding. So I think expansion is really vital, and taking care of all the aspects, with different teams, different streams, with coming together to make it happen. So I think scalability is really relevant. Challenges that we are facing here is the lot of information overload that is coming in. So having right people getting trained, we need to adhere to whatever rules are coming in with such games in here, to handle the huge chunk of work that comes with scalability.
Got it, Parminder. So, to adding to your point, right? Kids nowadays first learn to use phones before they learn how to talk.
Exactly.
So, technology is at the forefront, much more because kids learn to use more, gadgets
Absolutely.
faster than they start talking.
Yeah.
And when you say scaling of technologies, right? So do you always, just a follow-up question to that, do you always see building on existing technologies as a better practice, or adopting to new technologies, or new things, and say for example Gen AI, force fitting Gen AI into a product just for the heck of it? What practices do you see happening mostly?
Good question, Gautam, because this particular Gen AI, it has caught up in past few months in a very big way. It was there for some time, but then it wasn't publicized as much as it is today. But then it depends on where you are using. There are legacy systems which just cannot go to Gen AI or some new technology immediately. There would be certain issues, which will be hanged on with them. So I think it is really important to see how it is being utilized, even finding out the loopholes before you put them in some really secure systems. So yeah, that is, I mean, depends on which system you are putting into. If there is something new you want to try on, yeah, go ahead with the niche technology. In fact, we can expand it even more. So that would help. But then some really legacy systems, where huge data is involved, large impact areas. So for those, I think market tends to play very safe first.
Got it.
So,
So, Sunil, I wanted to jump onto you at Code and Theory. You guys are, design focused at the end of it, but still, very strong tech savvy talent. So, I wanted to understand what are the major considerations for scalability when you do projects within the tech ecosystem.
Correct. Gautam, I think I would categorize it into five key pillars, right? Starting with, are we choosing the right frameworks? Are we using the real cloud native adoption? How are we looking at performance management? How are we looking at data? And how are we looking at essentially the security aspect of it? And if I go deeper into each of them, right? Like, first of all, if we talk about the right framework, are we using like microservices? Are we creating loosely coupled systems? How are we looking at the overall adaptability of the system when it comes to the problem at hand, right? And when you look at cloud native, are we leveraging the right resources on the cloud system, right? Are we using Azure or AWS or GCP, which is Google, where there are systems that will auto scale for you and you don't have to build systems on top of it? Are you leveraging them right, which will allow you to kind of build out systems for larger scale and larger adoption and all of that. Third comes performance. Are you setting up the right performance monitoring? Are you actively monitoring? Are you managing incidents? Are you kind of capturing those essences and making sure that the systems are up and running? The other part of it is in terms of setting up the right tools and enablement for the clients, right? Then comes the data part of it. One, as Parminder talked about, there's so much influx of data. How you have, first of all, setting up the systems to handle that kind of data? Are you setting up scalable systems for that data? You have a lot of new tech which is NoSQL to a lot of tech that is built around it, which can scale automatically for you. You don't have to set up and run systems or manage systems like earlier. Second part of it is also data pipeline. When it comes to Gen AI or data, there's a lot of influx of data that comes in large and high volume and high concentration as well. Are you setting up the right data pipelines for it, which will allow you to manage the data, right? So that's another scalability aspect. The last part is the security aspect, which is very critical because one, essentially, when you're looking at the data which is threat protection or threat perception and managing data that you're hosting, you have to be able to set up the right policies and protocols around it, right? Are you setting up the right systems for it? Like each of the cloud providers have their own security aspects and security systems for it. There are also aspects where you can manage some of the data in-house or on cloud. Are you setting up the right protocols and the security services which will also rely on customer data to private data as well? So I would say these five pillars categorize on how we approach overall scalability and how do we look at building really large systems and that will actually last out as well, and not just about building scale, but building scale at that will last for a longer term for a client. That's kind of what I think.
Got it. Thanks, Sunil. So I want to talk about scaling technology projects. Okay, so when you are building your platform and all of that, how do you scale? Because scale, like the challenges with the Great Indian Sale or the Big Billion Day Sale and all of that, right? Scaling is very so when you have your traditional cloud providers, so then it makes it easier. But then what are the things I want to talk about that part. What are the key challenges in scaling your tech products and how do you address them, Rishabh?
So the major part which I see is like when I started. So majorly I was doing on WhatsApp groups and Google Sheets back in college. I realized that I cannot build a big company or I cannot manage multiple things if I keep on doing like this. So that's where it was very new for me because 2018 startups were emerging and the company were also coming in. So I thought that let's make a product. So that's where it helped me. Definitely, the time when I built it, that is December 2018, June 2019, we launched it. It helped me definitely in order to scale my company. Number one thing. Second thing, always widen the scope in terms of getting more users on the platform, getting recognized by the companies, and also managing multiple things at time. Because until unless you keep on doing in a very traditional way or you talk about with the old processes, it won't be able to scale the company as a whole. Down the line, obviously, from 2019 to 2023, things got changed. New technologies came in the market. We also needed to evolve ourselves. After we made the first product, I understood that this is an older product now, 2019 product. 2023, I decided that we need to revamp it completely, making the new processes again, making things way more smoother for the people in order to apply for things or manage the things on the platform. So obviously with the evolvement of the company or evolvement of the time as a founder, when you are running a company for 5-10 years, there will be multiple fragments of steps which you need to take in order to build your technology robust, in order to scale the company, or else we'll be stuck there itself. So I believe there are two major parts which I see is like technology will definitely help you scale your business, but along with that, the processes what you make for the business in order to scale your technology and also your company is very much important. For example, we do multiple things for different companies. Making the process is in our hands. Technology is obviously helping us into get into that particular managing that particular process. So that's what I wanted to add over.
Got it. Thanks. So coming to you, Manish, what challenges do you encounter in a biotech firm, especially building techs around biotech products and all of that?
Well, I heard all three of them, and it's very complex when it comes to biological systems. The reason being, the risk mostly in non-biological systems is on the business or the market risks is what they look at, even for an investor point of view, or scaling in everywhere. But when it comes to biological or biotech systems, it is more of the tech risks. The technology itself is very risky. In a way, the biology of two individuals itself is so complex. And when we come up with any biological products or biotechnological products to be used on a biological system, it has two aspects. One is the technology, other is the data that is generated from this technology. Now, what you want to scale up is its applicability or how the data is going to drive its applicability. When so much of diversity exists, the challenge comes is who is going to invest into such a complex system. So that's the first hurdle one has to face. And then the complexity itself is the second hurdle. So in making decisions for technology, we always look at we work backwards. We look at the disease, the indication, the diagnostics, and then we start working backwards to see and start eliminating. We put a lot of gates to ensure that we fail early and fail fast, so that the success rate of any technology we want to develop and scale it up becomes much higher. So this is the way we mitigate the risk and bring in. But still, if you look at the funding point of view, the funding is very, very hard in biotech. The reason being this complexity. Otherwise, if it's only market risk, of course, there is historical data which can tell you which direction it's moving on. Like Pam was mentioning, in the complexity of scalability, what they see is very different than what we see in biotechnology. So bottom line is understanding the fundamentals of the disease or the indication or the technology, biotechnological technology, what we are looking at, that's very important. And convincing the investor or your own self first to see that how I'm going to scale it up. So I would put it in a laddered manner rather than a single VCs like tech guys can take it. Ours is always laddered so that at every step there is one success element which can drive the next step to us. That's the way I look at scalability in biotechnological industry.
Got that. So I wanted to come to Vishwajit to add an academic perspective. Vishwajit, I wanted you to provide insights, on how academic, institutions can help address these challenges because, especially in and around technology, every 2 years there is a new technology that is emerging, and then every 3 years there is a technology that is dying away, and then usually academic institutions have a much longer viewpoint to all these things and not adopt very. But how do you think Vishwakarma is helping in this space, especially around new technologies emerging, and how that is helpful for the industry?
Yeah, well, so it's very difficult to adapt in a education sector, okay, because there's a set syllabus and you cannot stay away from the basics, fundamental subjects. But Vishwakarma, we have two colleges, VIT and VIIT. Both colleges are autonomous ones. So we have academic autonomy, and because of which we have a freedom to design our own syllabus, design our own assessments and the exams. So, with this benefit, we have introduced the semester long internships in our curriculum. So, through which our students go to industry for full 6 months and they learn new technologies, adapt with the new technologies with the industry. Before that, we have introduced some industry electives with the help of some industries, some IT companies in our syllabus. So, that's our regular trend now. So, in the second and third year, we add the new subjects with the help of industry. We design a new subject with the help of industry. So, we have our alumni, industry experts, CEOs on our board of studies who guide us to adapt with the new technologies, and we are able to add that subjects as a part of the industry elective to our students. So in that way we try to adapt with the new technology, the latest technologies. That's it.
So got it. So it is usually the industry collaboration and the industry thought leadership that is kind of helping you do it. And I believe you have a certain industries coming in sponsoring a particular subject for that semester where they kind of do the knowledge transfer to the faculty there, and the faculty kind of do it, and then they handhold in between. So that way, what happens is it's a little more customized, and whatever technology is relevant, it is being taught. It's not just the fundamentals anymore.
Yes, you're right. And of course, there are other ways to introduce new technologies to the students, like setting up the labs, industry-sponsored labs in the college premises or the center of excellences. So we have almost 20 plus center of excellence with the different technology, with the in association with the different IT companies, IT and manufacturing companies like Atlas Copco and all. So we are setting up a new center of excellence in the game design and development. That's very new thing in the academics. And with the one company, it's not yet finalized, so I cannot name the company. But we are in discussion, and soon we'll be launching that center of excellence in our college premises, and our students will be learning on the latest technologies in the gaming and development.
Got it. So now, I want to, so we've talked about technology, but then, in this world of technology and AI, it's common loss that, it's the people that, inflict these changes. You can talk about technology and AI as much as you want. If not for the right set of people, so I always find that no matter how much a technology evolves or how much the processes evolve, it's at the end of the day, it's the people that is a differentiator in companies. Especially in almost all of the companies, it's the people that make the. So wanted to kind of delve into the talent part of it. So I wanted to understand the challenges in retaining experienced talent, especially like like there is a bloodbath. So during COVID, it was a carnage. Now it's a bloodbath, and I don't know if this is going to, kind of come down, or this is going to be the new normal. Because how I see is with GCCs coming in, the salaries have gone up significantly higher, whereas the gross margins for companies have not gone up that significantly higher to support these things. So the only way we, as services companies have existed is by getting in talent that is, a bargain buy, usually freshers. So that's how you kind of keep. So how do you make the freshers into more like an experienced talent? That is one part. The second part is retaining all these people. How do you retain, or is the cost of living in India going to go up permanently and not going to come back at all? So I want to ask you, Parminder, what are the biggest challenges you face in tech companies retaining experienced talent?
One thing, Gautam, experienced, talented people, they're assets to the company, like nothing else. So we do face challenge because we have poaching going on in the market, but then how do you stop them? You give them what they require, especially with the experienced folks. What I see, which has really helped the technology companies retain their talent is you give those folks the opportunity to get what they want. It's not about what they are giving to the company, but how can we help them stay focused on what we are expecting from them. A couple of areas. One is they have a lot of information, they have a lot of experience, they have seen the challenges, they have navigated through the turbulent times. You can learn technology, I mean, when we were learning in colleges, we had C++, C sharp, Java. These days, my kid, when she comes from school, she's like, I have a Python program ready with me, do you know this? I'm like, no, I don't know Python. So she's like, okay, this is how it is. And when I give my input, she knows what I'm talking about. Hey, you know that. It's the same thing in different package. You need to understand the logic. So the attitude, the logical solutions that come with the experienced people. I mean, this is where it will keep you going. Even with the new talents coming in, working as experienced, give them mentors. I mean, I myself have a mentor even till today who will keep on telling me, okay, this is how it is to be done. On a very basic level also, like, okay, does this, I wrote a document, does it look good? Hey, this is not the right way, maybe you need to. So, they keep on giving you chances to explore new ideas, new avenues. So this area can be tapped with experienced folks, which you won't get in any book, you won't learn in any university. So wherever you see experience, try to bring out these aspects from their work. Secondly is you pay them, like, sometimes it's not everybody just works for money. So they might be having a good bank balance, but then right now they really want to share what they have learned. Because for some people, including me, work is not work if I don't enjoy it. So if I enjoy, I can go up to 16 hours working and I'm like still relaxed. So next day again I show up at 7 a.m. Why do I was working at night? Because that is not work. It is something that keeps me going. That is my passion. So looking for passionate people, who have this experience and tap them. You give them as per the market standards. Talk to them. If this is what you need, why not? This is a role you want. Maybe they want to see a change. There are people who have been in a single dimension for say 15, 20 years. Now they want to explore some new areas. Like when I shifted, I've worked as a webmaster. This was a word I'm not sure many people have heard in the current generation. I was a webmaster for a company I worked in, the first one. I also worked as a scrum master. When I was a webmaster, I never knew there would be a role called scrum master. So when I was a scrum master, other scrum masters didn't knew that time, the new ones, that there was something called as a webmaster, unless of course if they read a lot. But then trends are changing, so keeping them up to date. That if there is something new coming up, yeah. So sending them for workshops, for trainings, for their upgradations. Upskilling them is one huge thing, and yeah, giving them avenues. To speak out where they want to. So I think that will really retain experienced, talented folks. And if there are freshers, I've seen not very experienced, but highly talented guys in a team who really get frustrated very easily in this era of instant gratification. Hey, I know so much, but then I'm not getting that space to utilize my experience or my learnings. So I think we need to identify, even in technical companies, we have focus groups who will identify who is doing best work on this area, not just domain but technology. If there is a combination, so why not? So tap such people and encourage them to showcase what they have. So if this happens, I think nobody wants to leave.
It's a very interesting observation where money comes at the last of the equation. But then, is it do you think Indian companies have evolved to accept and kind of be like, okay, I have to now not look at what I can get out of the person and ask him to work 70 hours a week, rather ask him more, like what I can give so that he is more happy and he will stay longer. Do you think it's come a full circle and we are looking at it
Yes,
right now?
it is. There are people who are willing to work 80 hours a week.
There are, I personally work long. Okay, I personally work 7 days a week. But then as a business owner, you working 7 days a week or 16 hours a day is not like some medal to be given to you or something. When you are expecting an employee to do that, who is now you're not partaking wealth with him. So the problem with most of the companies is that, especially the traditional services industries, is that the wealth is still at the top, but you want to do all the slogging at the bottom. So when there is no enough reward for that thing, right? How do you ensure that they put it up?
See, first they have to explain that why are we going to reward you? If there are two people who have worked equally well, but then why is only the one person getting rewarded? Why is he getting recognized? There is some element in them. So they need to be explained, like what is expected, or maybe giving your 200%. I mean, you keep on giving your 200% and it works fine. If no, they stop. But then define the areas which will bring them up to that level. Set up a benchmark. So once it is crossed, ensuring recognition is really important. Then yeah, this area comes in the picture, but then they have to be focused right from the beginning on it.
Got it. Got it. Sunil, how does a product company or a services company in general approach retention of experienced talent?
Yeah, I mean, I cope I'm in terms of the challenge though, and I think I believe it is multifaceted. When it comes to experience, I've had tremendous opportunity to kind of hire and retain really like senior folk, like director level and VP level and all that. The facets for me are we allowing them for giving opportunities for career development, right? Are we giving opportunities for them to upskill, train, mentored, coached, right? Those are critical for somebody at certain levels because they feel valued and they feel that there is enough room for me and there is value for me that is being given as well, right? Second is there fair compensation? And to your earlier point, I think Indian companies are very cognizant of it now. There is fair compensation when it comes to certain roles, right? And it comes from value from the role, right? And if you are being paid a certain level, you are expected to not work, right? Not in terms of hours of work, but not the value being driven from there. Are you able to generate business? Are you able to retain clients? Are you able to generate technology or innovation? Are you able to motivate people? Are you able to grow more leaders and things like that, right? So are there opportunities in that? So the fair compensation comes with the right roles and responsibilities that are very clear for people, right? The third aspect of it is in terms of career growth, right? are you giving room for people to grow in their careers, right? Creating those opportunities, creating the roles, creating the right set of environment for them to grow, right? The support system for them, right? One is to be able to create those roles. Second is to be able to support them, right? With the right opportunities and the right mentoring and coaching and all of that. The other aspect is the employee engagement part of it, right? It's not about, oh, I have somebody senior and they'll do it on their own because you expect them at a certain level to operate on their own. They need to be engaged. They need to be kind of embedded into the system. There needs to be transparency in terms of data flowing to them as well, right? Are you involving them in decision making? Are they feeling a part of the company, right? Are they feeling that their contributions are part of overall growth and decision making and all of that, right? So that is a very critical aspect, especially when it comes to senior people and experienced folks, because, like, to your point, a lot of the work gets done from bottom rungs, but decisions get made at the top, but somebody needs to own the decision. Is the decision being owned and transparently communicate that this decision is going to lead to something? Are they part of the win, right? So that's critical aspect for that, right? And I think the last aspect of it is in terms of how are we dealing with in terms of the mindset for certain people, right? Especially experienced folks, if you accumulate all of these, right, they want to be valued, they want to be seen as somebody who can play a certain role and to be able to given certain responsibilities, and the opportunities that come with certain roles are with key responsibilities and key outcomes as well, right? Which means they know that there's an aspect of accountability that needs to happen with that. And accountability is trust, right? And you need to be able to trust certain folks, and especially at this band, to be able to do that part and to be able to delegate that. And a lot of the challenge is in delegation. People who don't trust enough to be able to delegate and feel that somebody at certain levels can do the work. I think if they feel empowered, if they feel accountable for that, a lot of them will enjoy their work and be able to continue that, right? So I feel all of these kind of, for me, has been instrumental in kind of retaining and be able to manage their careers as well, in terms of helping them grow and being able to give them a path where they see that they can be here for the next 5 years to 10 years. So that's kind of been my mantra, though.
So coming back to it, right? So I see this mostly in executive leadership when we do executive level recruitment, right? So there is where all these, higher level things that we are talking about kind of comes into play, where they want to feel valued, they want to feel they're contributing and all of that. But when we talk about experienced talent, bulk of the talent migration happens in this 5 to 15 year bracket.
Yeah.
Post 15 years, people are looking for much more than money, because there is no exponential growth of money once you hit 1.5 to 2 crores in India.
Yeah.
After 1.5 to 2 crore, it kind of plateaus out. It is not 30% anymore. So that is where it plateaus out. So that is a different level. But when you look at this 5 to 15 year, when there is a 30-40% growth possible, year over year, and especially you're talking about 5 to 10 years, and we have Rishav here, who's in the gig economy. I see future of work where people get up in the morning, scroll through all the tasks that they have at offer, and then picking 2 or 3 tasks, getting it done, and then getting paid at the end of the day, and then today they'll go for vacation, and then they'll come back again and work. So there is no. I see the stickiness is in especially in the five
Yeah.
to 15 years. Uh, the stickiness is around 2 to 3 years maximum, and not to blame them, companies reward people who keep hopping, because you somehow companies also believe that an external talent from somebody from another company can come in and lead all these internal talent which has been there with you for
Longer term.
few years. So, and it's the same, it's not like you are doing it, your competitor is also doing it, he's poaching from your company, you're poaching from his company. And thanks to this 90-day notice period, or else everybody's would be on fire. I don't advocate 90 days though, but so for this 5 to 15 years, right? That is where the maximum volatility is. How do you retain that part, from their aspect?
Yeah, I think I would go back to some of these things, right? And in some of the teams that we manage and the people who want to be here, their aspect is, am I getting opportunity to work on real fancy projects, right? Nobody wants to be working on older migration projects. Am I working on real cutting edge, bleeding edge tech? And today's talent is very, very ambitious, right? And it's not about hopping for the sake of it. If they don't see real challenging work, they start looking out, right? So are we able to give them that real challenging work in cutting edge, bleeding edge tech? Second is they really appreciate training, right? Which means we're setting them up to be able to do some of these things as well. If they have been doing something for the last 2 years or 3 years, it's on us to be able to identify that they've plateaued and they may start feeling antsy. Do we start going proactively training them on newer tech, or giving them a little bit more diversity in terms of options to be able to choose? Second is they don't want to be told what to be done, right? They want to be able to choose work as well. So we have to be able to create that ecosystem where they can also pick a gig within the company, right? Where they're able to pick certain roles and work which is outside of their work, plus maybe also as a rollover after their current work as well. Which means we're creating an environment where it's a more startup ecosystem within firms, where they can actually do real cutting edge work, innovate, right? Be on the bleeding edge of technology, be also able to take up some part-time work which will give them a lot more on their resume, right? At the end of it, we know nobody is going to be looking at a 40-year, 10-year, or a retirement tenure at any company. We know it's 5 years, but they also look at how are we setting up their resume, right? Are we giving enough badges on their resume? Are we creating the opportunities for them for that resume? This is critical for us, and we've been able to retain talent for 5, 10, 15, especially when they see that they have growth, right? And if they be there, they're able to get projects which are challenging. At the same time, they're able to grow as well, right? And taking on new. So I feel some of these aspects, even in that age and group, whether it's career mentoring, training aspects, giving them real cutting edge work, challenging projects to work, giving them opportunity to grow. Because come to US or to India, if you see the parity, right? In the US, you'll probably see a software engineer after 25, 30 years of experience. You will never see that in India, right? At 5, 10 years, somebody wants to be growing as a leader. They want to be able to taking on more. They want to manage people. They want to manage accounts or companies, or be an entrepreneur. That's a very different aspect of how we operate out of India, right? So people are much more ambitious to grow. And for us to be able to create that ecosystem, create an environment, will help us retain talent over the period of time.
So I wanted to add another question here to I want Parminder's point of view is right when about 10 to 15 years when I see a lot of talent, right, they get bored, okay, and they see that there is not a lot of opportunity. The opportunities you're talking about is for the cream of the crop, whereas 80% is not the cream of the crop. So what they do is they start looking out. I see people, like quitting jobs, and then suddenly somebody from an IT product manager wants to become a financial advisor, and a cloud architect wants to start a garment shop, and then somebody wants to take up a franchisee. So I see these changes. Is it because you think people get bored, or is there enough growth? Because is the top really having that much vacuum for so many leaders to grow up there, or what do people who can't grow will do, Parminder?
See, it's the passion element in them which drives them to the calling. Okay, today I am a software engineer working on a niche technology. Next year I have a farm, organic farming. That's a calling, right? I mean, this is where they find a peace. Maybe they did not find the strength to speak out while they were choosing their line of work or career. That this is something I want to do. This is what will bring me peace. It's not the packages, the amount of money they will earn, but if in case they are in the right in the right profession, they are happily working, but then they really want to grow more. So wherein companies really want to retain them, again coming back to the same retention thing, um, is it tapped with their natural instincts? Okay, somebody who really is going towards a financial advising zone, why has he chosen that particular zone? Is it his money, he's good with money matters, or what? I mean, it again reflects back to the dialogue that company spokespeople will have with that particular person. So understanding how clear or how happy is he with his profession. Like sometimes even for me, when I think, okay, what next, what is the next? Okay, today I'm an agile coach. I work with the leaders, getting the transformations done. But then what next? So it's not the career perspective, the designation or the role, but is it like someday going back to teaching, which I really love? Is that something that can bring out? So again, it would be like, hey, why didn't we retain her? Why is she going to teaching? Companies could have utilized this aspect of a person like me to mentor others, maybe train, maybe a workshop after your working hours if you want to. Just an example. But then we really need to understand their, you know, the focus where they are leading next, like apart from their working areas. So if we can tap that, I think There are innovation hubs, so people wherein experience between 3 to 15, as you said, they get bored very easily. Put them into innovation hubs. They have a lot of ideas. These days, youngsters, you can't even think of the kind of apps they want to build in. When we worked on web development, we had portals. We still have portals going on now, but then day by day we are having apps for, even for teaching. We have same content, the content is the same, the experience is the same. Still we have people vouching for new apps for it. Why do you have so many apps for the same thing? Because everybody wants to showcase a unique element, right? So tap into what they want to innovate, what they want to show, and give them the freedom. So I think that should help. My
Got,
perspective again.
got it. I wanted to ask it from a product company's perspective, Rishav. Just so that, if in a services company there are multiple clients, and if somebody gets bored of a particular domain or a client, you can kind of, move them around. And I've seen this a lot. What happens is, in my days, so people used to work with me in services companies. They'll be like, they'll get a very great good package in a product company. They'll go there, they'll work for 3 years. After 3 years, they're like, there is no more learning, I've mastered it. So I don't know what to do. I want to come back to services company is also something that people have asked me in the past. So in your company, how do you ensure that experienced people don't get bored?
The very first part, I've never hired people who are more experienced than me. Number one thing.
Okay.
So
Good
all
one.
are mostly freshers. I believed in hiring college students who are in third year, like who've been working with me as an intern for a year if there's a 3 years course, or it's a 4 years course, whatever it is. So if they're working for like around 1 year, I know that this particular person can work more with me. So that is one. So most of the people working with me are the people who came out of college, who have been 1 year of experience, 2 years of experience. The only person who is mostly experienced person who's been hired by is 4 years, which is into business head. So that is one part. Second part, how do I look upon this? Like, for example, we are also a service business, but a product led. People will not get bored. The reason being, we work with multiple companies. Everyone is into different sectors, like be it finance, be it machines traders, be it into cloud native technologies. Multiple kind of companies we work with. So people working in my company also, they get to learn about new technologies. That is one major driving factor for all these younger freshers which I see. For example, if I'm into say suppose an IT company developing my product, or say suppose I'm into fintech application, I'm just building my product, a particular person doing that all day and night all throughout, a person might get bored, especially a fresher, 1 year 2 years old guy. But someone who is getting to drive into multiple things, different sectors, I personally get a particular overview with all my team members that yes, this is a new thing which I am learning. So that is one important factor which I have seen. In the end of the day, what I believed is like, be it any kind of AI comes, be it any kind of technology comes, as you said in the initial part, it's the people game. If people are the ones who are driving all this, so we can make good technologies, we can make good processes. In the end of the day, people need to understand things. So that is more important. So personally, I've never hired people who are above 5 years plus experience. The reason being, again, I wanted to have a younger team. Number one thing, we are managing people again, the freelancers. They're also the age group of around, say, suppose 22 to 30 maximum, if I talk about. So that's where the major group of people are lying, and want to understand people in terms of speed wise, and because they're more flexible in doing multiple things. When we see what I have seen personally, when I hire someone who is 15 years plus experience, two major challenge can happen with me. Is like one, I need to be time foundation, because they will have multiple things to look after. I need to have time foundation. So they are the ones flexible enough. They know that they need to do things completed in the end of the day. It's nothing like 8 hours or 9 hours for them. It's just they have 10 tasks, complete that end of the day. So that's where I look upon things. Might be in future, I am also having 5 years experience by the time I started. So I cannot comment on the fact that what it will take in order to retain a particular person who is having 10 to 15 years of experience. So I have not done that. Might be in future I will be able to answer this more.
So where do these 5 year experience guys go?
So for me, like you talk
From
about,
you, where do they go?
so see, it happens two ways, which I have seen in my age group. If I see all my batchmates, they're having two things. One, people are looking for higher paid jobs, obviously. That is one major factor which I see, because this is a time most of people will start getting married. So they will look upon things where, say, suppose if you're having XYZ salary, they want to jump into another salary because now the goal changes when the people start getting married. So that is one area which I see. Second area which I have seen is like people who wanted to do something, as Parminder says, that passion driven things. They wanted to do something, a startup or say their own venture out. But by any circumstances, they didn't able to do while they entered into college or straight after the college. Most of the 3 years folks, 3 to 6 years range of experienced people, they start doing this particular thing. They want to start their own particular kind of business. That's what I've two factors which I have seen. Mostly people are jumping, which is very common in my friend circle. I have seen that I meet someone 6 months back. They said I am in XYZ company. Again, I meet in after 1 year. Then the same thing. The company got changed. I say you are changing companies like I am changing dresses. So that's where the things which I have seen in this my age group of people, if I have particularly seen. And the second factor which I have seen is like people driving their own passion, wanted to do something else. That is one part which I have seen. No, again, not everyone. Some folks, people will think that everyone is doing it, but yeah, some folks.
Got it. Got it. So I want to come into the retention strategies for freshers. Okay, Gen Z. So Gen Z is like a bad word for most of the leadership folks in companies, and whether we like it or not, they are the ones who are going to be bulk of the workforce.
Exactly.
Either we adopt or we perish. So there is a lot of what do you say, touchy and iffy thing about Gen Z, and just that we've got social media, so we put it out there, and every generation has been the same way about the following generation. The previous generation did not see us serious. I believe that the exposure, the amount of exposure that these people have got, and they are not starting from the same plane as we started. Like we had to get in and then understand. It was like 6 month garden vacation for us when we joined a company. Then we kind of slowly started getting accustomed and acclimatized to the surroundings. Now they want it quick. Yeah, probably instant gratification, or you can say that they want things to move fast. So that is how I see it. So I want to talk about especially these fresh graduate Gen Zs, and how would you retain somebody? So I believe it's not just the money. Okay, I'll tell you what when I talk to a lot of college students, what I heard is something that I want to add here. But I wanted to understand your perspective, Manish. What do you think are the retention strategies when you are dealing with fresh graduates?
See, in a biotech industry, it's a different ball game compared to IT. Because IT, they can jump like you said, changing clothes. It's not so in biotech because
Exactly.
by the time they set into the system itself, it takes a while for them. So what we do is normally at the time of hiring itself, we would explain to them what they're getting into. It's not that they can just transfer plug in from this technology, they just jump to another company. They cannot use that simplistically because every company, the technology used is very unique. So
Okay.
that becomes a barrier for them to jump companies that easily. So what we do is we make that selection first, and then we create a roadmap at the time of hiring itself. During probation, we'll tell them you have to understand what you are getting into. So once the probation is done, most of the time the jumping is very very minimal. If you look at hiring the people changing jobs in biotech, it is not so often. The reason is we create three segments. One is 70% of their time is predominantly used for our company work. Another 20%, 15 to 20%, at least where in my company, what we do is we allow them to develop their own project of interest, which is in alignment with my company so that they can become entrepreneurs and they can add value to the company's newer models of assays or technologies. Another 10% we allow them for learning newer technologies, which are the exponential technologies which are continuously evolving. So this strategizing makes the place exciting to them. And work-life balance, of course, that is very much important. In my company, vacation is mandatory. You cannot take your paid leave as an encashment. I said you have to go on vacation. So when you create such things, people will start liking it. Youngsters especially, they like to go on vacations and hiking. Like he is a hiker. They want to do those extracurricular activities. If you bind them too much inside, they get stuck. So they would always want to. It's more of claustrophobia because of which they will move out than for money or anything else. Because technologies are very unique. If they get into a microbiological company, They cannot straight away go and jump into a production biotech company. They cannot, because they cannot. They have to learn all the way from beginning everything again. They become like a fresher in another company. So it's a technology which becomes a barrier for them to jump in life sciences. Than like in IT, it's very different. But at the ground level, if you see, if you go to production level or who are doing basic tech without applying brain, you have protocol. I just do this work and go. That is a moving population, because they are like we call them, you know, like in your software, how you call, they're like humanware, right? They are the human beings who do this technology routine testing. They don't have to apply their brains. They don't have excitement. That is a one manpower we have. They can keep moving among companies, but other than that, who are qualified MSc and above would rarely move out, and we create an opportunity for them to do their PhDs, part-time PhDs. We have tie-ups with companies. Now I have tie-up with Dayanand Sagar University. So my person, she is now going to join as a part-time PhD there and pursue her PhD. So she's pursuing her passion, improving her qualification, and adding value to the company as well. These are some of the strategies I use in my company, in Microvioma.
Good strategy. Pick a vertical where
You can't
the
jump.
technology is unique so that they can't move. It's not that they won't move, but yeah, the other aspects, jokes apart, the other aspect that you investing on their personal development and then them becoming more qualified, and then vacation is a compulsion is good. But yeah, it's good because in India vacation, I think if there is a glorification to living simplistically in India. So if Ambani's do a bash, wedding bash or a pre-wedding bash, there are more people who are jealous about it that they can't do it, who want to sling shit at it than people who are like उसके पास है वो कर रहा है तो क्या. That is not the attitude. So he is spending. So what? Your father is not rich as his father, okay. Accept the fact and move on, right? You can't, do that. So that I see a change in that attitude, so that, whenever you structure a compensation, whenever we hire folks for, companies in the US, anybody about 10 years or so, right? Vacation days is a component in the offer. In India, we make the offer so complex with all these split ups and all of it, so called tax saving, this, that, and all. And then, make them, run. There it's fixed by 12. That's all. And then a variable. That variable is a bonus, an annual bonus. And the criteria of how much you will achieve will be put in there. Then there is a fixed number of vacation days. And then there is an option to choose medical, dental. So these things are all there, and vacation days is a key component. This is not your earned leave or sick leave. This is for somebody 20 days vacation is mandatory, and then even what do you call this? What is this thing? I just forgot the name. So you severance package. Severance package is also structured into the compensation. Severance package is also structured into the compensation. I happened to hire one of head of sales. Severance compensation was structured into the compensation. And then after 6 months, it didn't work out. They had to pay him 3 months severance package. The guy's salary is around $300,000 a year. And he had a 3 month severance package as well. The companies, are forced to do to hire good talent here. Here it is like one cookie cutter approach. Only your name and salary will change. Everything else will get auto populated and go on. I think the Gen Zs will come and change it. Boss, if you want to hire me, you work according to the way I want to work, and I think slowly we'll get there. And Rishav, I wanted to understand. You say you work with a lot of fresh talent, right? Once you get a fresh talent, how do you get them productive? Second, how do you keep them engaged and motivated to work towards a longer goal, which is a little longer?
Okay. So the basic fact which everyone believes that the fresher talents don't go always for money. The reason being is like most of the people which I have seen personally who have worked with me are into the learning phases. The ones who accept the fact that if they learn now, initial 3 years, the next 10 years are gonna be amazing for them. From the day one, from the soon I get out of my college, I run after the money that someone is offering me XYZ, and other companies offering me ABC. I am running after ABC. Then again, the system of your mindset gets completely evolved. What I do is mostly is like these younger, fresher talents, or we call as Gen Z, are very quick enough, more quick enough than us. They are overthinkers. They think and they adapt things very quickly. That is a very amazing factor which I see. The reason being is like you cannot time bound them actually. That is one thing I have realized. You cannot time bound them. Like work from 9 to 6. Don't ever time bound them. Give them place, give them space, and give them their own speed how they are working with. Trust me, it works a lot. Personally, there's one particular person who joined my company as an intern 1 year before when she was 17 years old. Recently, she got turned 18 actually. So she started working with only 5,000 rupees as a stipend, okay? Now it grew to 5x as a 18-year-old person actually. So that is one amazing part which I see is like the person who is to whom we are giving the space, like you do whatever you want to work, a time when you want to work, and obviously the kind of skill set you can put. So that is more important which I have seen. All the people who have worked with me in the past 6 years I have seen, the freshers mostly, just one thing I have always understood from them is like don't pressurize them with that this is the deadline, this is a deadline. Just give them task. Say by this you need to deliver it. They will do it if they're capable enough. And this capability you need to recognize within themselves. And always it's all about the space what we give them. We cannot one thing is very common among all is time boundation. The time you start putting time boundation 10 to 6, 10 to 8, they start getting monotonous that I need to go to office, I need to deal my boss. All this kind of thing happens, and in this weekend you do all the dramas. All those things starts. Give them a particular bandwidth of their own relaxation, and the things work out.
So, I want to come to both of you. This is a school of thought that is startup school of thought, right?
Yeah, it's
So
a
how?
startup school of thought actually.
Correct.
So it's a
Because I observe when any startup comes for the pre-placement talk, okay, and they tell all these things in their pre-placement talk, like about the salary, about their work culture, about their flexible policies, about their like Friday outings, team outings, Friday parties. So they tell everything about that. So we get surprised, like why these company only telling these to the students. But then we got to know like they're trying to attract the Gen Z, and they get a good talent out of that, because like all Gen Z, they not interested only in the salary. They want the good work culture, the flexible work culture. They want to enjoy the work and all. Okay, so they join the startup rather than any IT product or giant company. Yeah, that's there. Yeah.
so apart from this, what are the other strategies, Vishwajit, do you think that companies wherever they found you have people joining from Vishwakarma into multiple of these
Yeah.
companies, right? Where you have found the highest stickiness key, if he goes to this company 2 3 years, he will not go out. One I see is when they give a very high starting salary, it will become an exit barrier. That guy will not get that salary
Yeah, you're
anywhere else.
right.
For 3 to 5 years, he is just stuck there. Second is not just about money. What are the other aspects when you give a decent size this kind of a package? What kind of package does it work to keep fresh talent glued with the company?
Yeah, of course, the Gen Z, all the students wants good package only. It's all are running behind 10, 20 lakhs package per annum. But if you see, there are another aspects to that. Like some students look for the flexible work. Like if any company is offering work from home facility from the initial days, like some students want to join that company, whatever the salary is. Uh, Again, students look for the another benefits like the life insurance or medical insurance for them or and their parents. Then club membership. Some company offers club membership, so the students go for that. But apart from that, like the Gen Z all wanted to do their further education. So there are companies who supports and who offer the higher education to their employees. So like many students got attracted towards that. Like if any company has that higher education policy, there are more chances like these Gen Z students will join that company and they'll take benefit out of that. Then, of course, they are more careful and more, I would say, like there was a question in the interview, like where we'll see after 5 years. Okay, so that was a question from the interviewer side. So now the students are asking that question to the company
Companies.
director in the pre-placement talk. So what will be my position after 5 years? Where I can see after 5 years in your organization, what will be the growth prospect for me? So that's the kind of thought process these Gen Z has, and of course, companies are adapting with that. They're offering the various facilities and the comfort and the flexibility to these students, and I think that's a good retention policy for the companies to retain these Gen Z.
So it's all a lot of startup buzz and a lot of technology buzz. So with traditional services companies, I'm facing this for a few companies. Okay, so the top notch talent don't want to come to you. Okay, so this was a problem 10 years back in the US for services companies. So usually in US, the moment somebody goes from here and does a master's there, they want to go and join a company like Facebook, Tesla, Microsoft, something like that. Okay, the ones who don't get the jobs in these product companies, right, they will become contractors for these product companies. They are just there but not there. They'll become the ones who don't even get jobs there, right, they are the ones who will be your on-site hires in the US. This was a common trend. In India, though, they did not have any option. They had to join only these services companies, and only services companies had this thing of taking in fresh talent and training them. Earlier, when we had before GCCs became a common word, when we had City, Microsoft, Facebook, Google, and all these guys, right, they will not take any 0 to 5 year talent. They will directly go and take 5+ year talent from these companies. So that was creating enough void in these services companies for you to promote people as well. So now things are changing. How do you think, are we going to be left with, in services companies, are we going to be left with only the people who don't get product company jobs? Or do you think we will get good talent there as well? What is your take on that, Sunil?
I think to our earlier discussion, right? A lot of the services companies or agencies have to reinvent as well, right? There's one key thing, and you brought it up earlier as well, of instant gratification. So there's a brand to it. What is going to be my brand, right? As an individual, if I join there, what is the brand represent from your side as well? Do you work with the Teslas? Do you work with the Facebooks? Can I get in there and work with some of them, right? And will you help me build my brand as well, right? And how am I going to be positioned within and outside, right? Am I getting opportunities to go talk somewhere? Am I getting opportunities to kind of represent the company somewhere? Compensation being the bottom line, right? You have to be able to competently pay them for what they bring, right? And they will expect you to kind of pay market above market if you want to be retained. So we are having to reinvent how we are hiring one and retaining, right? So in retention, they will want to be working on bleeding edge, cutting edge, and if you're stopping that and you go into monotonous work, they'll look out, right? And to our earlier discussion about when will they start feeling very antsy about kind of work and all of that. So I think for us, we've kind of evolved to creating this whole aspect around employee social satisfaction, about how am I feeling today, right? Am I feeling good to be here, right? Am I being given the value both internally, outside? Am I being shown up on LinkedIn? Am I being recognized with awards, right? Am I being shown some of these aspects where they have a peer who's being shown so I can get there, right? Am I seeing a runway for myself there? If not, 2 to 3 years they'll be gone. We want to be able to create a runway where they see themselves being a certain level, being able to create their own brand in the 5-10 years that we want them to be here, and be able to create their own ecosystem around it, right? So it's kind of where we are evolving, and the thought process is changing as well. It's no longer about there's a software to build, right? It's a lot about the people, their brand, and how do we kind of build a lot more of the social satisfaction around it. It's changing a lot for us, so we're evolving along with that.
So coming to that, right? So you were talking about being employable, especially the fresh talent, right? So that is one of the missions that we've taken, making India more employable. So wanted to understand. So you were talking about, so you don't hire fresh graduates from college anymore directly into your company. So you usually have a staging company where you give the curriculum, and then the staging company kind of, does not matter where the student is from. 6 months there is a finishing school at the staging company, and then they are absorbed. And then, so by the time you are bringing your gestation period of the freshers from 3 years to say 1.5 years, 2 years, so you're trying to bring that down. That kind of drives your cost down as well,
Right.
your fixed cost down as well. So what we here do with Vishwakarma is that what we do is we make that finishing school where they have the ecosystem
Correct.
and processes and the infrastructure and the students.
Yeah.
So they kind of, bring in the finishing school concept with a specific industry subject or
Right.
a COE, where the student kind of gets prepped up in the third year. And then on the fourth year, they come and join you as a full-time intern. And then they work through the entire year. And then at the end of the fourth year, he joins you if he likes you and you like him. Okay. And then what happens is you get somebody with 1.5 years experience at a fresher salary.
Right.
So, how do you see that happening? Do you think this is a space which has more potential, or do you think you would have had that staging company if you knew some college institution was doing this?
No, I think we would have gone with the college approach. I think we were doing it because of a lack of that ecosystem mostly, right? And if you see the evolution of the resumes of freshers, right? Take 10 years ago, it used to be very cookie cutter, right? Oh, I've done Java, I've done Python, whatnot. But if you see today's grads, third year, fourth year, they're talking about their own pet projects in cutting edge projects, AI, ML. They will not join you if you don't actually operate in that space. So when they are interviewing with us, and to your point about where am I going to be in the next 5 years, their questions are, do you operate in that space? Will I get to work in that space? Right? And if we have that gestation period of training for them to be a little bit more professionally trained in that space, we can readily employ them in those rather than us spending another 6 months to train them and getting them to a period where we feel they're ready for a client project or a innovative project there. So I think it's in both ways. One, they are getting themselves ready far ahead of what used to be the case earlier, and the fact that institutions are supporting them to be readily employable and the gestation period is cutting down makes it a lot more of a win-win situation for people as employers, right? Where we don't need to go to another third party to go get them ready, right? Where they're coming out ready from college, and we're collaborating in that as well. Like to your point, we are collaborating to say here's what we think are the real tech that they need to be ready for, and if they're ready from there, our gestation period is far lower, our cost is far lower. One is about hiring them at a fresher salary, but if you're doing fair market compensation, and if you're looking at the tech that they're coming from, we're okay to pay them that salary, right? Somebody who's a generic Java engineer to a data engineer will not expect to be paid the same. And companies are, and we're cognizant of that. So we're ready to pay fair market for that, right? Which means for them as well, they're already, and to Rishav's earlier point, where do they want to see a starting point, right? The starting points will change from there, right? And fair compensation is something that they will expect for that as well. So which is good win-win for both sides.
Yeah, so we are also trying to remove that middleman, that the third party man. Okay, so many companies comes to us and they expect the students with the latest skills there. Okay, so like they tell us like they want day one billable candidates, and of course at that point they are right because they wanted to reduce down the cost of the training, and they have some important projects where they wanted to deploy the workforce on an immediate basis. So for that, we have this finishing school every year. Okay, so everywhere January we starts with the finishing school, and we approach companies. So they give us the technologies and the syllabus, and we work on that. We select the students and we train the students accordingly. The semester long or 1 year internship model helps a lot in that grooming.
Totally.
So like many companies have started with this model, internship plus people. That's very famous model with us. So companies comes to us for the recruitment somewhat early in the third year last semester or the fourth year starting, and they select shortly students for the internships. So that can be a 6 months, and sometimes that get extended to the 1 year. So in that 1 year, they train the students in a such a way that after joining, it becomes a day one billable candidate for them. And again, they have a choice to offer a PPO or reject the PPO. Most of the times, students gets a PPO. Our conversion rate is really good, like
Nice.
90% plus. Of course, nowadays the one more factor is applicable for that. That's vacancies available in the organization. But we see it as a win-win situation, because getting a industry experience for a 6 months or 1 year during the education, that's really valuable for our students. End of the day, they get the good positions somewhere in the other industry. Okay, so that was the concept behind introducing these semester-long or 1 year internships. So along with that, to prepare students for the internships, we have introduced the industry electives, industry projects. So we have very expert faculties who have did their PhDs with IITs and NITs, and they are subject experts in their particular domain. So to utilize their expertise, we approach the industry, different industries, and we ask for their problem statements. And usually we get problem statements from the manufacturing companies, engineering companies, from IT companies, and we work with them. We appoint one faculty, the team of students on that project. And proudly to say, like, we have delivered hundreds of projects to the companies. We have signed a number of MOUs with the different industries. We have delivered them the solutions on that. Okay, so the Vishwakarma Institutes becomes a partner for many companies in their technology development. Yeah. So in that way, we nurture students.
So, Parminder, I wanted to ask you this. Retention and risk taking are like two different aspects. Okay, the Gen Zs are very risk taking because when I talk to students, right, they are like, "Hey, boss, if a company gives you an internship, you are not eligible for any other placement. So you don't have an assurance of a PPO. You may not get an offer at the end of the internship, and you are opting out of all the other opportunities as well. What do you say? It's a risk worth taking. I'm coming to Bangalore. I'm working in a company. I'm going to be there for a year. If I'm going to be there for a year, I'll be meeting people at Sutta break. I'll be meeting people at restaurants, and I know so many other people are there. So if I'm really good at my job, first the company will give me an offer. If for some reason they are not able to give me an offer, I will find another company because you're here in Koramangala or Indranagar or in any co-working space. You walk out, everybody you talk to is a potential employer.
Yeah.
Everybody you talk to is a potential employer. When this is the attitude of the students, they are much more like, they're like, it's a risk worth taking. And I want to work in companies that give me exposure, not just payment. So, what do you want? Something to cover my living expense during the internship period is good enough. But post that, I want a good salary. I'm not taking anything less than 8 lakhs. One student kind of told that I will not take anything less than 12 lakhs per annum salary out of college. Then I wanted to be nice to him, and also at the same time ask him the question. I wanted to ask him, what have you done? You think that he's like, I have a GitHub repository. I have deployed these 4 products. These products are there online. You can see it in my microsite. And this is the work that I've done. If somebody who has just come to college for 4 years and graduated, and that person and I am being treated on the same scale, then I don't believe that I want to work in that company.
Yeah.
So, but for long-standing services companies, for us it's a standard package. Doesn't matter, if the guy is a top scorer or he just cleared his arrear. How do you kind of customize this?
See, that's an amazing combination, no? Risk taking plus the confidence that they're able to bargain the package even when they have not started sailing the boat. So I think it's a good combination once they get into the streamlined system, where things are not as rosy as they thought it would be. So, but then if they have these elements of taking the risk, because they perhaps have this trust in themselves to take things, forward henceforth once they start going into the system for a longer way. It's a very good combination to have those folks in the system, but again, we need to retain them, maintaining the pace with them. First of all, we really need to understand if they are in the right group of people. Maybe a traditional manager might not gel with such a individual, at least because, see, they people who are freshers, out of college, they're very much like teenagers. Anybody who has teenage children, they can really relate, a parent and a teenager, because a company needs to understand that aspect of a fresher. You give them some space and do not micromanage them. This is really important. The first point is do not micromanage, but again, touch base with them on a very regular basis, as good as daily. Talk to them twice a day, because they should know, okay, there is someone I can talk to. Earn their trust. This only has to be earned. Even though if I have a reputation of being a very giant company with a lot of niche technologies, but then if my employee or even a fresher doesn't have trust in me, they keep on micromanaging. Every half an hour she'll ping me and ask for an update, so they'll come up with reasons. They're creative also. so, so I think yeah, we need to give them that freedom, but at the same time, communication is the key element. In fact, communication at every levels, not only professional, personal, everywhere, communication is a key ingredient for anything that you want to be a success. So here, if you have a relevant conversation on a regular basis, a good communication, not just talking. It could also be, maybe just sending out a praise to them. Hey, today you worked really well. Hey, you presented it really well. On a very small levels, keep them motivated. So I think that will retain such talent. So I've seen people who have been come up from very big institutes. They are very ambitious, but then if we are not able to handle them properly, they get bored and they're like, "Keep your package. I'm moving out." So they don't even want money at that point. Okay, if there is someone who's like, okay, I want 12 lakhs, this is what I'm worth. They are talking this because there is something which is a differentiating factor. It's for us to tap. So I think there is where the whole secret lies.
Okay. So now I want to kind of throw the floor open for a thing which is employer branding. Okay. So employer branding is very important for you to attract talent, because adults, when you talk to the candidate, they're like, what, this, what, that, what. So what so you will have, the pre-placement talk is essentially a sales pitch for the candidate for to join us. But then I see employer branding. So I've in the HR realm, right, they have somebody in the marketing who is like a dinosaur. Okay, who's like a dinosaur, and all they think about employer branding is go to conferences and conventions and put up a stall. If you put the stall in India, it's called employer branding. If you put up a stall in the US, it's called customer marketing efforts. Why? Because India is where they employ people, that is where they get customers. That's the rationale. And when you go to these conventions, all the people who come there are not looking for a job, are looking to sell something. Okay. And I don't understand. They spend like 25 30 lakhs every convention, at least 10 conventions a year, and that's a marketing budget for them. And this dinosaur does not understand what is employer branding. Employer branding is when you are able to attract talent into your company by the showcasing your work, right? So that is what it is. And how could collaborations within academia and industry help you attract better talent who think that there is better work here, there will be more learning here and all of that? I wanted to throw that question to you, and I wanted to set the context so that we take along these lines of employer branding. Starting with you, Manish, I wanted to check your thoughts on that. How do you brand yourself?
One is through internship, if it is students.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then other is our product showcasing. We have a lot of biotech showcasing in India and abroad. And we put up our, not only the technology, but also the work culture. The people who are there in the stall, they also demonstrate the work culture. So these are two mantras.
So, as in my own question to you, do you think your target audience comes to that convention?
Normally, yes.
What is so I've been to multiple conventions. I've seen people who come there for mostly selling stuff. Okay, everybody is there to sell something. Whenever there is a let's say a hackathon or probably a coding challenge by any specific company, right, which is sponsored. For that, people come in and then they leave. And usually, I also understand that 5 to 15 year people are not very extroverted. They come, they do their job, they leave. They are not there sitting and networking and all of that. So I wanted to understand that part. How does it help, and has it helped you really get people from those efforts?
See, what happens in biotech space is there is slight difference between what happens in IT space versus biotech space. Because here people come and look for, before a conference or anything, there is a list of, there is a database through which people already map it and they come prepared to meet these people. It's all prefixed. And then we have this breakout rooms where you go and have a conversations about the technology and everything. And biology, again, it is not everything is encompassing. It's more collaborative. I don't have everything under my one roof where I can achieve end to end. I always collaborate with one or two other companies. So when we go there, we not only are looking at this, we're also looking at collaborative aspects. And that's when we can collectively achieve the goal much faster. And as a matter of fact, when you have this kind of an environment, the investor also is much interested in us.
Oh, okay. So it's a
Because,
double-edged sword for you.
yeah, because for them it is like, okay, these guys can reach the target much faster than if they were alone. So these are the multiple things which happen. In the bargain, when somebody is looking for an employment, they straight away come and talk to us and say, you know what, this is what I have got. Like you were speaking, right? They would come and ask you, what is it you got to offer to me? They would come and say, okay, you have this technology, this is what I have. Can I, the word they use is, I have people who have talked to me, can I collaborate with you, not work for you? That's the word they use when they come for employment. And we look at people as collaborators within our team as well. We don't look at them as employees anymore.
Okay, interesting perspective. I want to go, Sunil. How many stalls do you put in a year? How do you attract talent? What are the ways in which you kind of brand yourself to be a go-to employer?
We don't put too many stalls. We put very few. Where we put are very focused in terms of where the outreach can happen. For example, we go to open source India, right, and we put up a stall there. But we also make sure that we contribute a lot to the open source community and have more engaging community, right? The more people engage with us, they know us more. Clients know us more, that we actually have solid software building skills and whatnot. And people also feel that we're actually putting out real good software out there. We do a lot of employee branding, right? When I said earlier on, right, we make and we sponsor a lot of events, like for example, which is like web related, like React Bangalore. We sponsor that. We have our own speakers, right, where we have people from within the company actually go on and talk, which means we're creating a brand for them. So who are aspirational to join us are also seeing that we promote talent to be out there. We're creating a brand for themselves, right? And also showing that there's a platform that we are ready to create for them, right? That is one aspect. Second is also in terms of us building the brand from what we work for, right? And people want to know, are we working on really cutting edge stuff? Are we a traditional shop where we're just migrating stuff and all of that? So that's very important, and we use that in conjunction with some of these aspects, right, where we actually go out and kind of talk about some of these things, build the idea of what is it to be a journey within the company, right? Because for most of the younger kids, they're looking at the journey aspect. They're not looking to retire there. They're looking at, if I'm here for the next 5 years, where am I going to start? What is my journey going to be? How rewarding is it going to be for me, right? So we need to kind of be able to build around that, right? And the other side is hire the right talent as well. If we're able to attract and hire really solid industry talent, people bring people, right? And people talk about the brand as well, right? And if I'm able to attract talent from really marquee firms, one. Second is if they are a brand in themselves, right? Like for example, if they're a really senior developer in the Google ecosystem, for example, and their network is solid, and I have that person joining Code and Theory or any company, right? They create the brand around them for the company, which means if they have joined, there is something worth that's happening within the company, right? And that creates more brand for us, and they'll be able to attract more talent as well, and at every level, right? Not necessarily at certain senior levels or junior levels. And in a lot of cases, they look up to certain leaders who are there in the company to say, okay, if I see that person there, which means I can either grow into that or I can learn from them, right? And the company is doing something which means they have a vision, or there is enough for them to join and grow. So there is enough branding that gets created around that. So for me, those two aspects where I'm able to create and attract talent at every level through aspects of soft marketing, right, where I'm positioning people to be able to talk or brand ourselves at certain key conferences and key events that we manage. Second is to hire really good industry known talent as well. That will bring a lot more of talent for us. So yeah, in a nutshell, kind of that. And of course, typical digital marketing always exists, but we don't actually run a lot of business from India. We do a little bit, but a lot of that is in the US, so that happens a lot more here. Here it's all about attracting the talent, so we do a slightly different sort of aspects here. So yeah, it's kind of where we are approaching today.
So, kind of wanted to understand. So, with services companies, right? Training is a big cost. So that is what is embedded into all the services that you are offered. So and 3 years is your gestation period. And so now let's say you're doing an academic collaboration with an institution. One, gets you, marinated talent that is, that can hit the ground running. That is one. Apart from it, how do you think that it would affect a company's employer brand within the, student community or the employees community?
Again, I think to Vishwajit's earlier point about first choice employer, right? Like, are they choosing you to be a first choice, or are you probably the fifth choice or the sixth choice? And again, it's word of mouth with the student community, right? Are
Yeah.
they choosing this employer? Are they feeling that there is a career? And alumni, right? What we also do is when we go back to colleges, most of our panels are alumni, right? We make sure that we take back those alumni because they tend to tell the story, right? If they've been here with us for about 3 years to 4 years, they've found value. They've found that there is a reason for them to be here. They make good ambassadors. They make good brand marketing for us. So when they go back and talk to them, they can talk about one, their college journey, and then also the journey that they've had with us of how it has been value for them, right? And that actually leads to us being able to be first choice within the community there, right? And of course, it's word of mouth again, right? If certain people from certain colleges and who are cream have joined us, it also spreads that okay, this is worth going, and word of mouth is going to be very critical for us, right? And again, alumni network across, and we don't just go to one college, we go to many colleges, right? Alumni network across all. We also have outreaches that we go back to and speak as well, right? And not just about random placement events. We also try to go back and kind of talk through, even if it is mentoring and coaching, and how do you position yourself to be, employable? What kind of real soft aspects of things that we look for as an employer? It's not just about learning a certain skill, which is technology, right? We also expect them to be at a certain soft skill level, which is very critical for them to grow, because after a certain level, you can be coached, you can be mentored, you can't be changed, right? Grooming only happens in the college. After that, you're on your own. You either become stubborn, you be elastic. It's up to you. But during this course where they want to be employed, they're much more spongy, right? To be able to take on a lot more things. So we approach that aspect as well, right? How do we kind of imbibe a lot more of the soft skills, human skills there as well, which will help them become better leaders, better aspects of employees, and for them as well to, when they want to go out and build their own brand, how do they become better speakers? How do they become fearless to talk in crowds? All those aspects are things that are critical today for us to approach anywhere.
Got it. Parminder, coming to you, right? What do you think? What part of employer branding usually attracts experienced talent, and what part do you think attracts fresh talent? In much better proportion.
Your people are your brand. I'm talking about Vishwakarma Institute. We all are a product of the same place. So, again, word of mouth, yes. But then those values which are put into you, that is what glows once you are out in the ocean, after you have studied through college. So, I think where they are placed, it heavily depends on not just word of mouth sometimes, but then I think what resonates with your personality also, which can come as a part of grooming in the phase wherein you have decided what career you're choosing or what stream you want to be. You want to be into UI UX, you want to go into some process related, or maybe some really new technology that is just being launched. Do you want to take that risk? Again, risk taking people, do you want to include them? So all these attributes, they come together, they bubble up to your brand. I mean, this is an individual brand which will resonate with the organization's brand. So when that happens, I think we need not tell like what we're doing, how we are doing. It just gels in. So, keeping such talent again together, match their vibe. That's what, in short.
So I want to come to Rishav. Rishav, you said you started, and then you had hired fresh talent who did not know about you nor the company. So how did you first attract, and how do you continue to do that?
Okay, so when I first started, as I said, it was always people who knew me. So the initial set of people were the ones actually like with whom I did internships, online internships, or my batchmates. Not batchmates, actually online internships. So they were first set of people. Down the line, what it happened, people started seeing us, like majorly me actually, because what I do, what I put across internet, that is one major attracting point for them. Because what people will resonate that if he has done, I could also do. That is one major resonating factor which people resonate with me, the majorly the younger people. So you need to depict the fact that the things what you're doing shall be coming in a very proper manner. It's not only always a positive side, but also a negative side when you accept the fact that this didn't went well. Obviously, down the line when we work for a couple of years or a decade, not everything will go good. I believe 90 things go wrong and 10 things go good. At obviously in a startup phase, I see that. So I try to put up the fact that what didn't went well, so people understand that yes, this is the things which I could learn from him, or these are things I can understand that how we can improve this. So such things do definitely attract people. It's mostly about people who see you, who are going to join you in the freshers level or in the students level, or like 1 or 2 years of experience. So that's what I believe in. So it's always about put your things in a wider perspective, that this is, and obviously we don't have marketing budget, so we don't do any kind of marketing stuff. It's all about me. I am putting something, people see me, or about my company, etc. All those can attract people.
So when in a startup world, when you are not having a marketing team, forget a marketing budget, all of that, and then in that case, founder branding becomes an
Very important
employer
factor.
branding.
It's a very important factor. So for example, you have called me over here, 10 more people will see me. They might come and say that I want to join your startup, for example. So that's how founder branding works in the startup ecosystem mostly. And obviously when you have a budget, when you are having heavy pockets in terms of you can spend heavily on market, and obviously there are a lot many other things we can do. But in the end of the day, whether you are spending or you're not spending, you need to figure out a ways that people will know you. Because initial years it was very difficult that people not knowing me, like I cannot hire random folks. They will only join me because if I'm gonna pay them. That was the only attracting point. 2019, 20, and 21. Post 2021, the scenario got completely changed. When people started recognizing us or recognizing me. That was the time actually people started approaching me that they want to work with us. From there, if they were college students, I was always open that if you can work on multiple things, if you're happy to do these things, come and join as intern. Work, it's not time duration like 3 months, 6 months. It's flexible. Do work from home. If you are good, you keep on continuing internship until your college gets over. After that, you can join us. So that's how I always said. There's nothing wrong in hiring interns. Like mostly when they are in college, don't wait. That I also don't wait that they will complete their semester and then they will join. If it's flexible, I am happy that they can work around 3 hours a day after that college and they can keep continuing. So that obviously attracts multiple folks out there.
A great point, actually. What I understand is that, after the founder of Boat being on Shark Tank, right? Boat sales surged up, okay, and started getting more employee applications,
Hmm.
and Boat as a brand is also much more
Hmm.
recognized.
Same with Lenskart, I think.
Yeah, pretty much almost you name any of these guys, it's the same. So there is people, gone are the days when people used to buy from a company.
Correct.
I believe people want to buy from a person, and that person represents a company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I buy from the company that the person represents, it means that I'm buying into his value system.
Yeah.
So, and what I see is that, especially because I come from a services company's background, right? I can resonate still, sticking on to the archaic things and expecting things to work out and not putting themselves out more is something that I'm seeing
Yeah.
this thing. And even when I call here, right, the founders who talk well are the ones who are able to attract talent, who are able to build companies.
Yeah.
There is no more this I'm a techie, I'm a extrovert. Now you need both of them in one person. That is the perfect recipe for success, according to most of the results that we have seen. And Vishwajit, I wanted your point of view on this. You tell me, what are the companies that are like the most preferred for students? Obviously, reason one being salary. So, but you would have also found some patterns where the salary is not that great, it's just at par or just above par, but students still want to join those companies. Why do they do it, and what are the companies doing differently?
I think it's because of their brand image. Okay, so there are companies who have some product in the market, and these companies are well known. And when these companies comes to campus, like everyone wants to join that company. So there are IT companies, software companies, or some automobile companies who have their products in the market, well known, and of course students want to join those companies. We have a portfolio, diversified portfolio of around 1,500 employers, and every year, like 50% of them approach us for their regular hiring. Some companies hire twice in a year. So it's our responsibility to brand them in front of our students, basically. So the regular thing is to arranging a pre-placement talk offline way, and some director comes, the HR people comes and they deliver the pre-placement talk to our students and they explain everything about that. And of course, like you said, they bring the alumni with them. Okay, so the alumni talks in front of our students. Okay, apart from that, like when any company comes, we have some activities. So we have different clubs in the Vishwakarma Institute. So one club is a Saturday club, so where we invite our alumni working in the different organizations, and it's a podcast kind of thing. So 3 4 alumni come. So one student council member, he questions them on a different aspects, like their about their career, about their family background, about their experience in the Vishwakarma while they were studying there. And in that way they open up and they talk about their life, their career, and their company. So in that way we market the company to our students. Okay, again, some companies they organize the hackathon and technical contests, and this is very the good thing to promote the company to the freshers, basically to the college going students. So these companies organize their hackathon event in offline way to the college campus. So those are 24 hours or 48 hours running hackathon or technical contest events, and students really enjoy that. We do one more thing, like we organize almost 200 to 300 industry visits. Of course we have a strength of 3,000 students per batch, so we need to organize that number of industry visits to the industries. And that's a day long industry visits, and again company introduce and guide the students about the company culture, how it works, about their products. So these are the ways like company market themselves to the college going students. Okay, and I think that's our TPO's responsibility also, to market all kind of student companies to the students, because end of the day we want our students to work in the good company. That's it.
So any specific companies? What are the top 5 companies that your students,
Of course, the IBM, Dell, then Nvidia, Microsoft, then Intel. All these are the top companies. Like every student's dream for to join that company. But apart from that, I believe there are very good companies who are not well known, but the students will get a good experience, work, challenging work there. Okay, and they should join that. So of course we market those kind of companies to our students.
So I wanted to probe further there
Hmm.
to know what are those not so well known companies that students prefer and why.
For example, we have association with one company, that's EPAM, that's a Hyderabad-based company, and they have a base in Hyderabad, Pune, and some other locations. Basically, the company headquarter was in Ukraine, so now they shifted to the another country. This is really good company, and we have done the faculty sabbatical, then the student training program. They have hired a couple of students from our side. The company is really good, but not well known to say fresher students, because the company used to hire in a lateral way. So very first time they started hiring freshers from the college campuses. So we have arranged a number of events in college, okay, to introduce the company to the students. So one was the faculty sabbatical, then the faculties trains our students on the particular technology. Then the company techies, so every Saturday we invited them. There was one program, training program. So we involved 200, 300 students in that. So every Saturday the company techies used to come to the college campus, and they used to guide the students on the particular technology. So in that way, we work with the EPAM. So that's one example, and we are approaching various companies, and that's the way we work with the companies.
I believe, partnering with colleges to, kind of drive your branding, although you get only a few people from that college, but it will be registered on the minds of the other students who have not joined you as well, who are going to be eventually your lateral hires down the line, which they may have gotten in or they may not have gotten in. Because, I've observed that as a trend, and I think that is something that companies can focus on. And, well, yeah, to kind of summarize what all you guys, building an employer as in the founder brand is more critical to a business than just the business's brand. That is one part. And then, collaborating with institutions to build a brand. And then third, also finding out innovative ways in which, you hire top talent, that top talent walks in, so the brand that the person carries will kind of, reflect on it. Got it. Cool. So now I want to get into an interesting segment for all of you. Okay, there are often times that we, are, put in a situation where there are two options and both the options are really good, but then you have no other choice but to choose one. That is the, we call it decision dilemma. So that is the segment. So I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to give you, two different options, and then you'll choose one. Okay, don't want a long answer, just one. Just it's your individual perspective, not necessarily your company's. So yeah. So Parminder, I want to start with you. So customer experience or operational experience,
Customer
efficiency?
experience.
Customer experience. Cutting edge technology or enhance existing solutions?
Cutting edge.
Niche technology providers or large tech giants?
Can I have a combination? That
No,
would
no,
be
no,
bliss.
I know it's difficult, that's why.
Okay, the former one should be better.
Niche technology
Yep.
providers. Global expansion or deepening existing markets?
Global expansion, yeah, for sure.
In-house innovation or external collaboration?
In-house.
Okay. Sunil, to you. Design thinking or data driven?
I would say data driven.
Focus on web or mobile first?
I think web, a lot more accessible to a lot more people.
User experience or aesthetic design?
User experience.
Digital marketing or traditional marketing integration?
Mix of both, but yeah, I think digital probably way more.
Client retention or new client acquisition?
I shouldn't be saying this in my company.
It's a bad question.
No,
Yeah, that's a new expansion in a sense that it'll give us better, bigger markets. But client retention is key to growing business. So yeah,
So I
growing
posed a similar question to
client
another
expansion. I
guest.
mean, yeah, expansion is.
Yeah, got it. Got it. So Rishav, to you, internships or gig works for students?
Gig works.
Platform features you expand it or improve existing features?
Existing features.
You partner with universities or you directly engage as a corporate?
Direct.
Uh, Focus on urban markets or expand to tier 2, tier 3?
Tier 2, tier 3 always.
Paid internships or unpaid but skill rich
Paid
internships?
always.
Okay. That was clear actually. So you had the answer. So Manish, to you, gut health or overall wellness?
Overall wellness,
R&D or marketing in sales?
R&D,
Proprietary technology or licensing existing ones?
licensing,
Target consumer market or B2B healthcare providers?
consumer,
Short-term product launches or long-term research projects?
long-term research projects.
Okay. So Vishwajit, to you,
Mhm.
practical training or theoretical knowledge?
Uh, I'll go with the theoretical knowledge with experience with the daily placement and the feedbacks. Okay, the companies always ask for the fundamental knowledge from the student. So,
Encourage entrepreneurship or corporate placements?
of course, there should be someone to give
No,
jobs
no,
to
give me
others,
one
but
answer.
I'll go with the corporate placements.
Develop soft skills or technical skills?
Uh, Technical skills.
Collaborate with international universities or local industries?
Our motto is like think global, act local. But of course, I'll go with the collaboration with the international universities. But at the same point, tie up with the local industry is also important.
Yeah.
You
You're
need to
giving a
answer.
long answer for every question.
I have to be
Offer specialized courses or broad based education?
broad-based education.
Oh, got it. Cool. So as in, thank you. So I wanted to, so we are doing this as a broader initiative to kind of bridge the gap between academia and industry. Okay. So making India more employable is what we want to do. So in that course, right, we all as industry leaders here wanted to, have a positive contribution towards it. It could be, so some people it can be time, some people it can be hired. So somebody say I can mentor 5 students to get tech savvy and then, get into the right companies and mind shift. Or somebody says I can set up a COE to, if you guys can do it. Not necessarily it's going to happen today or tomorrow. It can be a step in the right direction. Or you can say, hey, I hire from so many colleges, I would like to do this, or I would like to have interns, or I would like to, hire from this place or something like that. So like that, I wanted a positive contribution from all of us towards making India more employable. So I'll start with you, Manish.
COE.
You'll set up a COE. Okay, got it. So, Sunil,
I would say industry sponsored courses to get them better ready. I think that's something that I would really focus on.
got it. Parminder,
I think exploring a lot of areas because trends are changing. We cannot, even what we studied last year might not be relevant today. So I think going with the exploration first.
got it. Rishav,
Industry sponsored courses.
industry sponsored courses. Got it. Cool. So, thank you everyone. It was a fantastic session today. It was nice and interactive, and there was a lot of confluence of thoughts, and I really enjoyed the conversation today. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. See you again in another episode of Titan Talk. Thank you and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching Titans Talk today. I hope you had a really insightful session. I'm Gautam, your global CHRO who helps you buy, build, and rent talent across industries, across levels of experience. If you want to hire freshers or if you want to hire laterals, do get in touch with us with the link below, and my team will get in touch with you to take it from there. Looking forward to meeting you again in another episode.